All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention.
Social media type stuff, I can't stand it, mostly because I can't figure a lot of the stuff out in the first place. But to me, it's just part of a business tool I use it for. Those people that I really need to get in contact with, I'm speaking to them. But otherwise, I don't want to turn on my cell phone most of the time. But it's there because I know that most people, that's the only way they know how to communicate with you.
Yep. Yeah, no, 100%. And my phone is also off at night. You know, I don't leave my phone on. Why? Somebody can disturb me in my sleep. That's the most important thing that we need, right? So let's just simply turn it off. I have it in a special mode that my people know how to contact me. There's a special way to do it. Then it will still off. So if something happens, bad. But I say, yeah, well, what if somebody dies? I go, he's dead. Yeah. It's not going to change anything. Yeah. Why do I need to know it now? And you know, if I know it now and I can't go to sleep anymore, then the next day I can deal with it less because I didn't sleep. Yeah, but if I wake up after a good night's sleep and then a death hits you in the family, at least you can deal with it better because you're going to be emotional. You see, so all these things are, it's so stupid to do, but once you realize it and you stop doing it, you go like, oh man, why didn't I do this like 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
My problem is I forget to turn the phone back on.
Oh, you just said it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Put an alarm in there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you turn the phone on.
Yeah.
If you turn only the Wi-Fi off, that's what I mean, or the cell reception, you can do that. What's it called? Plane mode, right? Do that. Yeah. You know, and then put an alarm out and say, hey, turn it on. Regular alarm. But
basically what I'll do is I'll simply I kill the volume.
Yeah.
So I like to, there's times that I'll just wake up in the middle of the night and I wonder what time it is, so I like to know that the cell phones. I'll go there just to see, well, what time is it? You know, because I don't have the normal clock radio sitting over aside anymore. But that way, you know, I go, I could sleep for another couple hours, or I'll be getting up here in the next 45 minutes. Sometimes it's hard to get shut back down again, so I might just get up.
Yeah, but the thing with the phone is, for instance, also, like, for instance, with me, if I wake up and I do like a 30-minute meditation thing, if I would look on my phone and I look at one text message, my meditation will be gone. Because with my ADHD, my head is there. Yeah. So I just taught myself to not read anything on your phone before you do the meditation, right? Because otherwise you're going to be distracted. And those things you simply have to learn. And with meditation,
explain that when you say that you meditate, because different people may not quite understand when you say that you meditate. Explain a little bit more. What do you do? What do you do for meditation?
I go over situations that, for instance, have an interview. And then I go over the questions that might come, and questions that maybe I don't want to answer, but if they come, how do I answer them? And I just visualize everything you did. What I also do is, like, I go back in the day before. What did I do wrong the day before? You know, how I can stop doing that from happening again? What did I do right? Can I make this better the next time? Yeah, there's always room for improvement. But just thinking about those kind of things puts you in the right mindset, because now if they appear again, you're going to be ready for it because you just visualize it, you know, and then it's clearing everything out. You cannot do anything else, only on those situations. And meditating for me, trying to think of nothing, it's a nightmare. I can't, because my mind is way too crazy. I'm flying all over the place. But once I do that, like for instance, when I was competing in Japan, you know, it's very hard to sleep because nighttime is daytime. If you come from Holland, well, 12 o'clock at night is 2 o'clock in the afternoon for you. Right. So all night you're going to be awake because it's daytime for you. And then I couldn't sleep, and you don't want to take sleeping pills because they're going to might affect you with fighting. So I go like, how do I go? And people always say, don't go to the fight because it gets your nerves. I found out that going to the fight and actually going over what you can do would put me to sleep. And that's what I started doing. I start visualizing the fight. So he throws across, or I slip. I go whatever combination I did, and I start slowly but surely visualizing. Always me, of course, winning it, never getting hit, because otherwise I might not be so happy. But, you know, do that, visualize that, and suddenly I just fall asleep. I go, wow, it actually works. I did this with pain as well. If you have pain, everybody says, oh, think about something else. No, go to the pain. That's what I figured out. That helps way better. Oh, it hurts. Whoop. I go with my whole mind right away to the pain where it hurts. And then it takes the pain away. It's really weird. You just embrace it somehow. Yeah. And then the body says, it's okay. And once it works with the pain, I'll do it with everything. Because everything works the same. You know, it's just doing it. Like I stopped, like if this rubber band, right? That's how I stopped swearing.
Yeah.
You know, when I said we'll swear, okay, now breaks. But I would go back a few times, and it starts hurting.
Barbed wire.
That's it. But yeah, go really hard. But you see what I mean? But and then I realized, wait a minute, if I can do this with that, I should be able to do this with everything. Now if I get angry in traffic, you know, I want to do something, go think, and somehow it works. Yeah. And I calm down because it's like you take attention to something else. It works perfect. Try it out.
What happened to your cooking show called Grandma's Kitchen?
I should do that, right?
Yeah.
The Grandma's Kitchen?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. I'm actually a culinary chef. I went 4 years to culinary school, the French cuisine, when I was younger, because I wanted to be chef. That was my original profession. And then I had a little fallout with a chef, cook somewhere. And it went wrong. There's a funny story, by the way. In Holland, a chef is called a KOK, cock. So check this out. So we just arrived in America, and then after 6 months or something, my wife decides to go out with a group of women, and they're sitting at table at a dinner, and they ask my wife, says, "How is your
I see where
husband?"
this is going right now, but go ahead.
She goes, "Oh, he's awesome. I got my own personal cock." And everybody, and my wife is like very introvert. And while she says that, she realized what she just said. She goes, no, in Holland, you know, and she's digging a hole deeper into it. Everybody's like, but it's true, a KOK, that's in Holland. A Fokker, you know, for the meet the Fokkers.
Yeah.
That's a typical name in Holland.
Yeah.
He had an airline company, Fokker. You know, can you imagine? If that would have stayed in business, I would always fly with Fokker.
Yeah.
Fokker. You know, it's hilarious. You know, sometimes these mistakes. There's also some things when you say a kont, KONT, is a boob, a butt cheek. But if I say here, oh, like a kont, that everybody thinks you're saying the C word.
Yeah.
You know, so these things you find out really fast because people suddenly look at you and say, oh, it's KON. Yeah, try to explain it. You know, people don't believe it anyway. But if you go to the Dutch language, you will see I'm 100% right.
Were you fighting before being about in Pancrase? So what were you doing in the Netherlands that finally took you to Pancrase? Because I only know Pancrase was being in Japan. So what were you doing in the Netherlands at that time?
I was a Thai boxer, and I beat a bunch of guys. And then apparently I took a fight on New Year's Eve one time when I was drunk. And I didn't train for 3 years. And I was a bouncer, so that meant at 5 o'clock the club would close, and then we would go to after parties, and of course everything wrong you do at these parties. And then I was drunk, and I thought and this one guy, Frank the Animal Lotman, he was going to come out of prison. He was training in prison, and he needed a fight. And they said, "You want to fight him?" Now, since I knocked everybody out before, I thought, "Oh yeah," but that was in a whole different class. This guy was A class. He was a professional fighter. I never fought that level. But me bragging, right? I say, "Okay." So 3 weeks before the fight, I get a phone call, and they said, "Hey, where do we send the posters?" And I said, "What posters?" They said, "From the fight." I said, "Who's fighting?" He says, "You." I go, "Whoa. What do you mean? Against who?" And he goes, "Frank Lotman." I go, "The animal." Yeah. I said, "When did I say that?" And then I start thinking back, and I realized, oh, shit, I met the guy, and I probably said yes. So now I better own up to my word. But, you know, I couldn't even skip rope for 20 minutes by first class because I was completely trashed. But I took the fight. And needless to say, I lost that fight. And suddenly the backlash that I had, like I was the worst guy, but it really hurt me, right. You know, because they forgot about all my winning fights, and suddenly I was the worst fighter.
What's motivated you though?
No. At that moment, no. I said, this is it. I don't fight for the Dutch people anymore. And then I met my wife in '92, in February, and I think in June or something, she says, "Hey, you're going to be a famous fighter in Japan." And I go, "That's a weird thing to say." I said, "Because I'm not going to fight anymore." She said, "No, I know that, but you're going to go to Japan." This was before I knew about free fighting anything. A year later, I got invited to do a tryout for Pancrase. They were in Amsterdam, and I go to the tryout. I knock a guy out because he tried to knock me out. He wanted to show off, I guess. I warned him twice, but he kept going, so I had to do it. And that was it. I got the job, and I was fighting in Japan. Then I'm fighting in Japan, and she, like, for 2 years in, and she goes, "We're going to go to America, you're going to have a TV show." Freaking crazy, right? And then
Your wife said all this?
yeah,
to
my
you?
wife said this. It was the wildest thing. She just had this
Wow.
weird look on her face. And I go, what's going on? She says, you're going to be a famous fighter in Japan. I go, no, well, I would never fight again. I didn't even know. So what happened after the last time I lost, and I didn't want to fight anymore, I still wanted to do something with martial arts. And I had a partner of mine, who was my coach at the time, Taekwondo coach, Roland Jansen. He was a very technical, really good guy. He taught me a lot with the kicking and power and all that stuff, because he was the opposite of, at that time, with Taekwondo point system, he was going full power, and he taught me. And we start doing these shows on, like to a nightclub. At midnight, the lights would go down, high-pitched music came. We came up with our freaking body pads and pumped-up bodies. And then we start doing fight scenes. And with sticks, and with nunchucks, and with brake tests. And we kick cigarettes out of the mouth. And we had backflips and all that kind of stuff. And that suddenly caught on. And then we start adding comedy to it. And now people start really gravitating towards it. Then we got on Dutch TV. We start going to European TV. Went to France. We start doing these shows everywhere. We would always come up with like backflips and somersaults. And then on one of these shows, that was when Chris Dolman, he stopped me and he says, hey, I remember you from Thai boxing. And now I see you do all these crazy backflips. Have you ever thought about free fighting? That's what they called it at the time. This is all 92, you know? And that was the setup. So I gave him my number. And then when he called me, for the tryout, that was him. But that's how I got the job. Really weird. But suddenly I'm fighting in Japan.
Hey, it's 10
You
minutes.
had to appreciate the Japanese audience, though, did you? I mean, it's they're very, I'll say they're very quiet, very studious
Yeah.
type audience, but they appreciate it. That it's kind of like, you know, those were the biggest crowds I was ever in front of, was those Japanese crowds.
Listen, it changed my life. It changed everything. I was the guy who was very uncontrolled in fighting in Thai boxing. I won because I was just powerful at things. But if I would face a guy like a Peter Ertz at the time or something, who was A-class fighter, I would probably run out of gas and would have a problem. Because I just unloaded, and a lot of people just simply couldn't deal with that. Right. But technically, I wasn't thinking. I was like I was in the gym much better than I was in fighting. Just my strength made me win these fights, you know. And then when I went to Japan, I think it was because of the weight difference, 28 pounds heavier, and the one round of 30 minutes. And I realized, I go, oh, wait a minute. If I unload in the first 1.5 minutes and the guy doesn't go down, I got 28.5 more minutes to go. So I put these big R's on my hand, which stands for rustig. Coincidentally, relax is the same word, starts also with an R. And that was it. And then when I was fighting that fight, I always tell people this. When I was doing Thai boxing, every picture you saw of me was like this. My facial expressions were like I was trying to kill you. And in Pancrase, when I look back after my first fight, there was no emotions anymore. Right. And I was blocking everything without emotions. I was like, and I heard the American people on the first row, I heard talking what they were talking about. I never heard the corner or something. Everything became so. So I think the combination of 30-minute fights, the 28 pounds heavier, and then the complete quietness turned me into the fight. Now suddenly I became the fighter that I was in training. And that's when I put everything together. That's why, you know, when Roots of Fight came to me and they wanted to do this series with me like as a Thai boxer, I go, no, I'm the mixed martial. Go Peter Ertz, go on Ramon Dekkers, Ernesto Host. I mean, all these are great strikers from Holland. Compared to them, I'm not that great. You know, let me be the mixed martial arts guy because that's what I can do. So yeah, I always been very honest about that because this is simply the truth. But once in Japan, that's when I started flourishing, so to say.
Let people know what's all your different type of social media that where they can reach you at or something like that. Their boss, I mean, that'd be the thing that we like to let always people to know what are your upcoming big projects that you have coming, and where can people reach you, or if you have a fan club or just, I mean, you've talked about so many wonderful things here. I mean, you've got so many different websites. Is there one place where they can do one-stop shopping?
You know, it's like on social media, like I said, I don't do crazy. I just started with crazy stories that I did, climbing out of a window 42 stories high in Japan, breaking safety things to slide over a little ridge to go to knock on a window because I thought Frank Shamrock was there, drunk out of my mind. I mean, the things that I did that you go later in life, you go, oh, dude, I could have so easy dead. You know, so I start making videos like that. It's called Tales from the Car. I do it while I'm driving in my car. I explain it to the camera. That is something that I just started with, so that needs to be picked up because like I said, I almost don't do anything on social media anymore. But one of the biggest things that I'm super excited about is Karate Combat. Karate Combat is this professional karate league, full contact karate league that takes Olympic wrestlers, taekwondo karatekas, and they put them in a pit, and a special designed pit with 90-degree shaped walls that they can use to their advantage. They can run up and kick, and they can do crazy stuff. There's a takedown rule, and then you can unload for 5 seconds as well. And that has been, for the last 4 years, it's been great. It's we film overseas. I can't say where, but they're going to be live shows now this season. I do know that. St-Pierre just got pulled in as well, and that was great because they said maybe they wanted to go for Steven Seagal or something. They go like, why don't you go like GSP? He's a freaking black belt karate. I mean, yeah, but how do we get him? I said, let me call him. So I text him, and he calls me immediately. He goes, dude, I love that show. I've been watching it for 2 years already. Boom, he's on board. Lyoto Machida, also karate guy. Boom, he's on board. You know, so we got this Josh Palmer, Leila Annalee, the co-host for me, Josh Palmer. Leila Annalee is also the host. She's awesome. And then Robin Black, he breaks down the fights. And we go on these crazy experiences because it's all CGI'd. So we're the future. We're in the past. We're going into space, and we go to special planets where we fight. And every time it's a new environment. And if you go to karate.com, you're going to find out that you've never seen anything like it. And if you see these athletes, think about it. These are Olympic level athletes performing full contact at Karate Combat. Karate.com, come over there on Thursday, tomorrow, the 16th of December actually. There's gonna be a short movie, like a 60, 70-minute movie, and that movie is just I think a compilation of the last season, the entire season. But if you love karate, I really suggest karate.com. It will give you all the information, and you're going to be pretty impressed. That's what I believe. Hear the dog. Put the microphone to him.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, watch this.
What is he doing, Dan?
Listen to this.
Quinn is speechless right now because Don doesn't have a treat in his hand. She'd probably be yapping up a storm if he had a treat.
Yeah, so funny.
The only thing that I'll break one other aspect of your career. You've been involved in several video games on top of this. I again, not till earlier. I never knew that you were involved in the video game Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 4. Guys, one of my best works, and this is not to brag, but I really had fun doing that. I have my own TV show in the video game. If you go to the Safe House, you can go to the channels, and one of the shows is In the Man's Room with Bas and Jeremy. And if you go to YouTube, you say Bas GTA 4, you will see those. There's 2 20-minute pieces. I highly suggest, if you want to see some comedy and some complete psychopath, because that's what I am. I'm like a bit of live audience, and I'm challenging the people who wants the knife fight with me in the audience, like things like that, complete crazy man. You want to check it out. I really did a good job.
Tony shared that with me, the In the Man's Room segment there, and I always just die and laugh watching that stuff. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, I loved it. I love that work. And all the thing that you do, if you hijack a car or a carjack, you do whatever, all the fighting, that's me. And actually, Amir Peretz, my buddy as well. Yeah. We did the motion capture for that. So all the violence, that's me as well, just in a different package.
Yeah, they just put you in the suit and they just choreograph all your different movements, right?
That's it. Yeah, with the little balls everywhere. It's a lot of fun. It was a great project. I wish I would have asked, instead of what they gave me, say give me 1/10 of 1%. That's the only thing I want, because the first weekend they sold 600 million.
Yeah.
Imagine 1/10% of that. That would have been great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Insane.
Well, Mr. Frye, where are we at this point? I mean, Bas, you said you got something that's coming up on timeline.
Yes, I got to do actually a podcast with Butterbean, and we're going to interview Flex Wheeler today. I do this every Wednesday, so I thought, you know what, we're going to do this during the day, and in the evening, I just pull my laptop up, and bada bing, bada boom, I'm going to do that show.
Very good.
Yeah, but Butterbean is a great guy. You'll have a lot of fun with him.
Yeah, no, I love that guy. He's as honest as they come as well. I love it.
Yes. built like a 4x4 that has no neck, but woof, that guy, I watched many of his matches in the past.
Yeah, he makes shaving kits, with deer antlers and elk antlers and things like that.
Really cool. Yeah, he just sent me one. I sent him a note to trainer, so we were trading for Christmas presents. All right.
This concludes another episode of Toxic Masculinity, and Bas, what can I say? Our special guest tonight, Bas Rutten. I've learned many new facets that I never knew about you before. Like I said, I knew that you're an author. I knew that you're an inventor of one thing, but the breathing, the O2, no, I did not know anything about that. I'm going to be looking at that and a few other things. I made a few notes on this, so it's been very educational for me. So I've actually very much been a pleasure and an honor to have you on our show.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much, Don.
Thanks.
It was a great time. I'm happy I came over. I told him, I said, I'll come to Arizona for this.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.